On this segment of the GMCR show, Thursday Live, it's a pleasure to have with me, as usual, Clement Sunday. He is a lifestyle expert from the Asiupo Diagnostic Center. Good morning, Clement.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, we had quite an interesting issue to trash last week or 2 weeks ago. What happened? We have to still deal with that issue.
Yes.
Okay, but there's something else we want to talk about this morning, and it's actually a new word, that I just heard, and that is nomophobia.
Nomophobia.
Wow. This is cell phone addiction. I'm sure it goes without saying that quite a number of people are now addicted to their mobile phones. Let's look at nomophobia.
Okay. Nomophobia is a word that is derived from no mobile, because you can also refer to mobile phones, as in cell phones, as mobile. So when you say no mobile phobia, phobia means to be afraid of something, to have a fear for something. So when you say nomophobia, so it means nomophobia. That was how the word was coined. So it means the fear of not being without a phone. Because studies have shown that people, with the invention of Facebook and all the social applications, in combination with internet-connected smartphones, people are becoming even more addicted. People are developing addiction faster than what you would have expected, what was known about drugs, addiction to alcohol and all that. So it's a new kind of development. People are becoming more and more addicted, and also they have mental problems, as well as implications, as well as physical implications. Like now, a study was done recently, and they realized that people are developing what is called cell neck, as a mobile cell neck. That's a phone neck, text neck. You can call it text neck. Like if people, because of the fact that people use their phone often, they text, they chat, and all that, there's a kind of form. This is the neck. The neck is supposed to be at a particular angle, but people are developing what is called text neck because they are always with their phones and all that. That's one. Then people are developing hyper shoulder. Maybe with time we can talk about this more extensively. People are developing hyper shoulder, and when you say people are developing hyper shoulder, it's a kind of a structural deformity, gradual structural deformity of the person's posture. So these are some of the problems that are related to being addicted to a phone, and also your screen life, screen highs time, because how many hours of the day? We have 24 hours in a day. How many hours of these 24 hours are you exposed to your screen? You're exposed to your computer, you're exposed to your cell phone. And most of these smartphones, they have a lot of light. If that's what gives it the beauty and all that. So it has a lot of impact when you expose your eyes to too much of light. These have long-term effects on the eyes eventually. So it has both health-related implications as well as structural
Okay, let's look at the health implications, because sometimes when you bring up issues like this, we just say, waiting this one they talk, how can it give me problems?
So it's very, very simple. It's just that people find it difficult to accept the truth. Mobile phone is good, it helps you to communicate. It becomes a problem when you're addicted to it. People sometimes, when there are a lot of tests now questionnaires are being developed, and people can check it online. You can check to know your level of addiction to your cell phone. You are going to answer some questions, and those questions will determine your level of addiction to your cell phone. It's that bad that people nowadays, they drive, and they can't do without texting, chatting, do WhatsApping while they are driving. So irrespective of what people do, they have about 5 minutes to hit, they are holding their phone, they are busy doing. So that is an addiction. And it might be interesting to you now, the people can decide to sleep close to a socket in order for them to just stay glued to their phone.
So that as the phone is charging, yes, it's close by.
Yeah. So, and one thing people need to know, which I'll just quickly mention, is phones have radiations, especially the earpiece. They have radiations, and they lower the battery life when the battery of a phone is full. The radiation is less. When the battery goes low, the radiation increases. So when you are holding a phone, you're chatting, the radiation increases as the battery life. So it's a kind of directly proportional, the battery life and as well as the radiation that the phone exhibits. Now, coming to the health implication of it, before I go into that, normally our brains is divided mainly into 4 parts. We have the frontal lobe, we have the parietal lobe, we have the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobe. Now, the frontal lobe is where information is processed. But because we now have cell phones, we don't get to subject our brain to so much tax anymore. Our frontal lobe doesn't really get so much of because the phone itself is like a brain. You have a query now, you can just type it into your phone and you get the answer. You don't need to subject.
Yes.
Whereas before we had smartphones that you can actually subject yourself to some kind of thinking,
especially when people are carrying on all these researches. There are so many sites you could go to, so you don't really bother.
Yeah, you don't bother about even trying to do research on your own and trying to subject your brain to, and it is when the brain works like an elastic. You need to subject your brain to a lot of processing in order for the brain to develop. So it has a larger implication for children. When you expose children to all these smartphones, iPad, because you love them, you quickly give it to them and all that. At some point, it's going to impair and slow down the rate at which these children are supposed to be subjected to just their pens and paper, you understand, so that they can actually develop their brain. But when you give them the applications, you give them all these gadgets and all that. So it has a long-term effect on their health. And to be very sincere, it increases panic now in adults.
Oh yes,
it increases panic. You're just like you are always tensed, and it has also shown that people develop impatience when you are used to smartphones. You are addicted to cell phones. You develop impatience. Unlike any other person. Like maybe you're trying to download something and it's not coming faster. Your wife, you are just worked up. So when you see people with their smartphones, they either have network issues, maybe internet boundary issues, or whatever it is they want to do with that smartphone, they are not getting the result as fast as possible. They are just so tensed up. And when you are tensed up, there are a lot of things, biochemical reactions takes place in the body. A lot of secretions, the body tries to combat it. So when the body is constantly subjected to an emergency mode, there are a lot of implications. Now, studies have shown that people with that kind of lifestyle, they end up having frequent chest pain, they have nausea, their immunity is affected and all that. So those are some of the related problems.
Wow. The thing is, I know someone who, like you said, once the phone has an issue, maybe there's no light to charge, or she's a young girl, maybe she's in her mid-20s or so, she actually gets nervous. I mean, physically nervous.
Yes.
You send her on an errand, she goes, and then for some reason she comes back, she's not sure if the phone was left in the house or she lost it. You could see that physically she'll be shaking.
Yes.
She's so nervous. I mean, where did I keep my phone? Then she'll lose total control about what's going on, that she's even somewhere supposed to be working. She's just like, she needs to just get the phone, like right away. She needs to find out where it is. And that happens to a lot of people. Because even the older ones, you just say, where did I keep my phone? The person is not even interested in what's going on at the moment, but let me get my phone.
Today's world now has a lot of challenges. We have a lot of things to deal with. Now, adding cell phones to it now, it's we're supposed to live our life normally. We're supposed to have a lifestyle of peace. We're supposed to, as much as possible, not to worry about a lot of things, But the cell phone thing, it's not a bad thing to have cell phone, but one has to be very careful. You must be ahead of the phone. You must have deliberate control of yourself. You can even decide, look, I just want to switch off the bundle.
Well, that's what I do. That's what I do. I do not.
Yes, I just want to stay out of social media for the next 3 months and all. You will feel the difference. You will feel the difference. You will feel normal. You will even feel it. How healthy you feel healthier more than if you were just.
Let me tell you the experience I have. I switch off my bundle for until evening when I'm done with. That's my own strategy.
Okay.
Now, you have people that they try to chat.
Okay.
Or they send you a message, and most of these messages are actually frivolous. I mean, it has nothing to do with my day. And then the thing is that they get really, really, really upset that you didn't even answer. And I'm like, I have so much to do during the day. Why should I be having some frivolous chats? If you need to call me for anything that's important, you call me. I mean, you don't oh, hello, hi, and then it goes on and on and on. And then many times, the time that you should actually use to do your work.
Yes.
Now you don't do it because you started a chat.
Very good.
And then it goes on for the next hour and you're oblivious.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And then by the time you realize that you've been chatting for a while, you now have an overload of work to do. And that can be very frustrating.
At that time, you've actually procrastinated because you were trying to, attend to frivolous things. Now you realized before the end of the day that you have a lot of things to do. In order for you to match up, you have to work harder. You have to, in order to eventually achieve the deadline and target for that day. So
okay, and then you mentioned something else that's very crucial. You likened it to drug addiction.
Yes.
Now it's been very obvious what drug addiction is, but this is like a silent thing that has come on.
Yes.
Now, what happens when a young person has maybe the phone goes bad or something, and that would lead to, people stealing, lying, and all kinds of things.
Yes.
Well, Clement, the thing about having chats with you is that if one is not careful, one would stop, because last time we were talking about self-acting. So this time around, I think we just need to stop because the GMCR show has got to end.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Erin.
Okay, very well. I was enjoying the conversation actually, but just to say that we need to cut it short for another week.
Oh yes, that's what I just told Clement, that when one has a conversation with him, it never ends.
Well, just to remind you that tomorrow definitely we are coming again and we'll be looking at cross-part states in terms of progress. Don't forget, this is one great state that is in tune with opportunities and progress. We'll be looking at works and urban renewal.
Yes, and that also will be a very interesting one. Maybe Clement will come up with something next time. In addition to works and urban renewal.
We're put on the show for today. We hope to come back tomorrow. And don't forget that I keep saying that the world is a very large space where everyone has a space. So you need to use your space wisely. I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, do have a splendid day. My name is Afinya. See you tomorrow on the GMCR show. Thank you, Clement, for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.